What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Hey! We are a little bit earlier tonight because I don't have anything to do. I'm on my own. So I am a little bit earlier than usual this evening. So anyway, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome in as always to the channel. I have moved my light. Oh my God, that's way too bright. I have moved my lights around a little bit. Just again, because I have nothing to do. So I thought, well, I might as well just try and jig a couple of things around and see kind of how it all plays out. And so I did move my lights around just a little bit. And I'm hoping that it kind of looks all right. I think I look okay. So maybe I don't know. You guys will tell me, I'm sure. But yeah, I hope you're all doing well anyway. And I hope you're all excited about the week ahead. I mean, I am. Christmas is very much upon us. We could be there. But yeah. It's all good fun. Tonight, I want to break down a couple of key things. If you haven't seen my video from earlier, I highly recommend going and watch it. I actually dropped two really good videos. Or certainly, obviously, I'm slightly biased because they're my videos. But genuinely, I put loads of effort into them, loads of work into them. I made sure that the content within them was actually really solid. And yeah, not a ton of people watched them, but that's fine. Like, I'm not gonna, lose any sleep over it because that's the game, unfortunately. But I would highly recommend checking them out because they're really interesting, and I think we break down quite a lot of stuff that's going on and quite a lot of the kind of technical stuff that is in there. So if you are interested, by the way, watch this one here. This is all about the crypto bull run, 4 reasons why 2026 is the real bull run. Definitely watch that one out. It's super interesting. And then obviously I dropped this one, all talking about escrow and banks and why they're going to be buying XRP with, as always with this channel, backed up by cold hard facts. So lights make you look 10 pounds lighter. I hope so. So yeah, so tonight it's going to be all a little bit about liquidity. I want to talk about what this is, more importantly, how this influences the market, and is there any coming to the market? So again, the kind of prerequisites were a couple of those videos, which I think support a little bit more of a narrative. So I want to talk a little bit about liquidity, when liquidity is low, what does it look like? So if you think about kind of what we've talked about over the course of maybe the last 2 or 3 live streams. We talked about the the SLR, the statutory liquidity ratio. We discussed that in length on Friday, I want to say. Maybe it was Thursday, actually. So hopefully you guys are pretty much plugged into exactly what that is, why that's important, how that's going to sort of play out for us. And then we talked a little bit on Friday. Yeah, it must have been Thursday we did that. On Friday, we talked a little bit about what the scenario could play out for as the potential of this year and what we need to look for. So tonight, I want to dive into liquidity. I think it's fair to say, and again, people can, critique me if I want, but I think it's fair to say that we aren't going to see a new all-time high before 2026 now. I think 2025 is probably going to end up maybe slightly above 90K. We'll see. I think this week's going to be important. No earnings, but a couple of key things. But let's get into really understanding, is 2026 what everyone thinks it's going to be? How does it become what everyone thinks it's going to be? And what should we be looking at for when we get into 2026? Okay, so I want to talk about that. And the one big overarching factor with all of this, as Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer transaction, is liquidity. It's the whole reason markets move. So we'll take a look at a little bit of macro. We'll take a look at the oops, I did not mean to do that. We'll take a look at the banks, lots of stuff. Okay, we're going to dive into it. So do me a quick favor, smash up the like button to a brand new all-time high if you haven't already. And if you're brand new here to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a beat. I'm here live 6 freaking days a week trying to keep you guys plugged into what's going on in the market. So TikTok, welcome in as well. Don't forget, tap the screen, share us out, let people know that we are live. Like I said, we are early for the live stream tonight, so I'm not expecting it to get going too quickly. But yeah, what's going on? OPF Norfolk, good to see you, man. Welcome in. Mouse in the building. Casey, good to see you. Mark Noby's here as well. Axe21, good to see you, buddy. Welcome in. Magic Greg, Tim, Silver Days, smash the like and subscribe. Let's get it, bro. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Yeah, I watch you on both. Casey, that's because you're an absolute hero. Do you understand that? You are an absolute hero. Okay. Feels like a disappointing end. It does a little bit. It does a little bit. So let's get into it. Let's take a look at what's going on in the crypto markets right now. Is XRP safe? You would have to be a bit more defined in your statement. No asset, even gold, is safe. You would never want to, hedge your house or health against it. But if you're looking for something, I guess maybe if you rephrase your question to, is XRP likely to go lower, then maybe that's a slightly different question. But hey, it is what it is. Okay, TikTok. Let's take a look at what's going on here on the charts. Let me just put my other phone there so I can see you guys. And let's talk a little bit about what's going on here with the latest price action and I guess what we can look for. So Bitcoin ranging right now, nothing really to write home about. It is probably not going to do anything much more than where we currently sit. I do want to see an upside move though. I want to see an upside retest of the 20-day exponential moving average. This big yellow line here that we've been discussing. As you can see here, we've now retested it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Even today, we actually got an underside retest of the 20-day exponential moving average. For me, this is a key line that we need to break. And if we're looking for any sort of Santa rally, post-Christmas rally, anything that's going to take us into the sort of back end of 2025, early 2026, in my opinion, is going to be about this 20-day exponential moving average. We know that, essentially when we do seem to break, it actually does act as support quite well. So you can see here we broke, and then obviously we got that remove down after the 12th of December. But generally speaking, when we break above, this actually forms a support for the price of BTC. So the fact we've retested this now 4 times does tell me that there is an absolute desire for BTC to break through this range. We just need some momentum. You can see here volume is pretty low as well. So at the minute, we're not going to see anything too crazy. Now, the other thing to think about here that we've been discussing, especially if you go to say the day or even the 3-day, and I was looking at this the other day. Look at this. Look at this for the M pattern that we've been talking about. I mean, it's insanely close to where we've been for a long time. And, again, you kind of see how this M pattern is all playing out. It's really, really obvious. And generally speaking, M patterns tend to be very bullish from the lower support bounce to the upside. So this absolutely is kind of printing the way we said it might. And then we'll have to hopefully see what happens. Again, it doesn't mean that we can't move from this. It doesn't mean that there isn't going to be some momentum, but it is very interesting right now that we certainly can see this M pattern break out. And this may actually act as the support that we've seen here. So this bottom range of this upper support that we had here, around 85,973, then, but cheek pad, then this absolutely could form part of a next potential move. Now, there is a lot of macro stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff in the Trump administration that we need to look at. Equally, there's a lot of misdirection with things like Epstein files and all sorts of craziness going on. And if you look at sentiment and all those kind of things, markets are super boring. I think what's interesting to note right now, though, is altcoins actually are still underperforming, even though Bitcoin's holding its own. So Bitcoin down 0.6. Look at some of these altcoins, though. Cardano down 2.5%. Algorand, Zebek, Aero down 3.95%. And then you've got ICP, which we said, didn't we, after this pump here, like if you didn't sell ICP at the top here, what are you doing with your life? Likewise, XDC, off that nice move it got the other day, straight back down now. So some really challenging altcoin markets, which tells me a little bit of it tells me a couple of things, really. One, there feels like there is a desire that BTC is going to move to the upside this week. We'll touch on pre-markets. We'll get into a little bit more detail as we sort of walk through this live stream. But even when you look at Bitcoin futures, expectation is that we could see a rally in the price of Bitcoin. Now, again, that doesn't mean that we are definitely going to do it, but it's certainly interesting to think about. And Ethereum holding that 3,000 range, fingers crossed, we will get a break above. So I don't want to go too much into the charts. I know that loads of people will kind of join a little bit and be like, oh, what's going on with the charts? But, the charts are the charts. Weekends are super low volume. Nothing really exciting going on. It is all very much a very quiet thing. Emilio, what's going on, bro? Welcome in. Thank you for that. Appreciate you, buddy. As always, likewise, appreciate everybody tuning in here on TikTok as well. Share the live out if you could. That would be so kind of you all. 21 shares so far. Thank you so much. And yeah, let everyone know that we're here live. Like I said, we are a little bit early tonight, but, it's fine. It's fine. 2-bit. Something is telling me BTC has much more to come. Well, media, there is a lot of debate right now that could well be true. And again, like I said, I would highly recommend going and watching my 4 reasons why Bitcoin bull run could be 2026, not 2025. I definitely recommend going watching that video. It's a pretty good video. Okay. Okay, too bad enjoying the peace and quiet. I mean, let me tell you about my day. I got home from work. I cleaned all the house, cleaned all the kitchen, wrapped every Christmas present that I need to take to my mum and dad and sister's house. All done, as well as set my live stream up, had some dinner, and then I'm here half an hour earlier than normal. So yeah, I mean, wow. I feel like the most productive human being on the planet right now, which is great. So, yeah. So anyway, this is where the price action sits right now. We're still within this range. So right, you know, for me, and nothing's really changed from where we spoke about last week. Nothing's really changed in terms of how this market really sits up, is that I'm still like, okay, I'm chilling. I'm not doing anything. I'm waiting to see what happens in this market. Something needs to break. Something needs to make a decision. And, you know, maybe it's liquidity that we're going to touch on. Maybe it's something else. But look at that range between the 0.5 and the 0.618 Fibonacci. So again, these are the two things I'm looking for. Close it down below 87,669. Probably expect some push down in the market. Close above 89,320. Then we may even see a further upside move. Sit between this range. It's probably going to move sideways for a bit longer. So for me right now, this kind of middle bit here, this is what I'm really paying attention to and seeing what happens. I've been telling you guys, I've got stablecoins set on the side. I'm not making any rash decisions. Don't need to, right? Don't need to. So Mark, kind of, I mean, we could literally do it tomorrow, but I was talking to a team that have just launched a token on Solana, which obviously we know is pretty, and it is a grind. I mean, a real struggle right now. Think about it. People aren't even buying like Ethereum or Bitcoin or anything. So I don't think it's the smartest move to launch it. I think we'd just be launching it for the sake of launching it. But yeah, we'll kind of see where we get to on that. But I don't necessarily think there's a desire right now to launch it, given where some particular products are really struggling. But yeah, everything's literally ready to go. Everything's literally ready to go. So it is just a case of flipping the switch and away we go. But yeah, like I said, I'm working with a team right now that just is really, really difficult. Crypto Fountain says fake out. Interesting. I think we make one more LL near 78K and then breakout to 110. Oh, I mean, there's a real divide right now. People think we're going down and then up, and people think we're going up and then down. Very interesting indeed. Very interesting indeed. So, yeah. So anyway, this is kind of where we get with BTC. Like I said, this range for me, a break above this number, that's what I'm looking for. Maybe a retest, underside retest of 90,000 could be pretty interesting. Likewise, if we break down, I'm looking for 87.6 that then probably should bring us below. So yeah. I do not know what that is. User 5002523547555. I don't know what that is. Zaman wallet. No idea. No idea. I feel like maybe I've heard the name of it, but it's not something I've got. I'm still waiting for my Elipal wallet to turn up for a review on that. It's only been 3 weeks now, which isn't particularly great. And I have a Ledger S. So, yeah, but I don't know what that one is, really. I don't. Is it like an XRP one? Maybe. I think it's an XLM wallet. Right. Maybe some of the community knows. But yeah, I'm not super up to speed with that one. Sorry. Yeah, not super up to speed. Okay. So that kind of takes us through where the charts are right now. Nothing else really going on. Total macro, $2.96 trillion. Still interesting enough, holding this upper or lower range, actually, that we've been talking about. So if you remember, we actually plotted this trend line a while back where we said this is actually a very shallow uptrend in the short term from that lower range on the 21st of November, where we wicked all the way down here to around 2.73 trillion. And even though we wicked down over the course of last week's Thursday and Friday capitulation in the market, then, you know, we have actually rallied back up. Lower support coming in to support this upward trend. So there's a couple of key things right now for me that I'm watching. One, those two Fibonacci's, the 0.5, the 0.618, for me depicts up or downward momentum. And then equally this longer term trend line here on the overall market cap of the entire cryptocurrency entire cryptocurrency, 2.96 trillion. So we want to see this kind of move further to the upside. What do you think that is the bottom end? No, I think Bitcoin can go lower yet. Now, the question is though, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute, can and will Bitcoin go lower before it goes higher, or will it go higher before it goes lower? And I'll explain myself a little bit more in a minute, but that's the big question in everyone's mind. Are you prepared to, and I think, by the way, just, there's not financial advice, by the way, but my opinion is, as long as you would be sensible and trade appropriately based on market conditions, you could almost set yourself up for a really good setup for 2026. Just my opinion. So if you could margin, you know, you could do the right thing, margin it, then yeah, you could be all right. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Then you could be all right. But again, I think right now it's very speculative, and I would argue probably quite high risk just because of the market structure and sentiment doesn't feel great. All right, doesn't feel great. But yeah, you have to expect with Christmas right around the corner, we're going to have to wait until the beginning of January before we see any kind of decision in the market. Yeah, maybe. I mean, you might see some retail investors coming into the market, but hey, we'll see. We'll see. Okay. So that's the charts. We don't need to go too much into it. It is what it is. We are what we are. And I don't necessarily think that a lot is going to change anytime soon. I think it is more just like, well, it is what it is. So, yeah. Is Sol done due to the SEK? What? Sol? Do you mean the pump fund thing? I don't think so. Pump fund is such a small part of the Solana ecosystem, especially now. I mean, do people even care about it? I mean, I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they do, but yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. If anything, I would expect Solana to rally more and challenge Ethereum's kind of dominance in the market. But good. All right, we'll leave this up. We'll keep an eye on what's going on with price action on the day. But I want to get into something a little bit more substantial, a little bit more important, in my opinion. We're going to talk about banking liquidity, global liquidity. We're going to get into, in my opinion, what the main mover of this market truly is. Liquidity, why it's important, and what can we expect that's going to come in 2026. Again, if you're brand new here to the channel, I did precursor this with a couple of videos that I dropped earlier on today, specifically the Bitcoin 2026 bull run scenario and how 4 of these particular topics will play out potentially into that. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into one of the key points I brought up, which was the expansion of global liquidity. Now, when I say global liquidity, I do obviously mean the global liquidity, but at the same time, how it can be niched into, say, something like US, UK, and everything else. And it starts with this number here. The global economy forecast to post sturdy growth of 2.8% in 2026. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. 3D time frame, BTC MACD is close to going green. I mean, BTC actually looks like, yeah, especially if you look, well, on the weekly, we're actually still holding up all right, but yeah. MACD looks like it's about to cross on the RSI as well. The RSI looks like it's about to cross as well, which would be pretty interesting. So global economy and the forecast to post a sturdy growth of 2.8. Now, remember, the US predictions go from Donald Trump, I think, says 18%. Howard Lutnick said 6%. But essentially, if you have growth at a global level, then this generally is good news. Goldman Sachs research forecasts for growth in most major economies in 2026 are at or above consensus estimates. So generally speaking, that the global GDP growth is 2.8%. So if you have an economy that's outperforming 2.8%, then essentially that country is expanding, their economy is growing. This should be better news for investments, and we're going to call it risk assets because I think that's more appropriate as opposed to like specifically to Bitcoin, okay? So again, that's a number I think we'll keep an eye out for. Just to give you what that looks like, by the way, estimations 2.8. You've got something like let's take a look. At the minute, outlooks for 2026, US at 2.6, Spain 2.4, China 4.8%. Now, I don't necessarily think 4.8% is going to work for China because I think they are way overstimulating their housing market, but that's just my opinion. You've also got 6.7% in India. Now, what's important with India is they are a hugely bullish cryptocurrency and digital asset country. Obviously, they are expanding pretty rapidly right now. And the US just marginally back. Depending on who you speak to about the US, depends on where you get to as a potential, what that looks like. Big Al says the top is not in. Stop listening to rubbish from influencers who have no idea. There is no invalidation on the larger time frame, no confirmation. Well, so far, you have been wrong, Al, but I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Let's fingers crossed 2026 does end up being a big bull run. And I think to say that there is no invalidations, I don't necessarily believe is true, because I do absolutely believe. I think the 50-week moving average on the 50-week moving average was a very much a key point to hold. And I actually think you don't get any sort of movement back to the upside unless you break the 50-week moving average, which I think is about $100,000 right now. But I think until you break back above the 50-week moving average, then yeah, the bull run or certainly what you would depict as the key level has been made invalid. That's just my opinion. So despite longer term challenges and competition from China, the euro area economy is forecast 1.3%. And I think the UK is even worse, by the way, FYI, for anyone who is UK based. 0.9. I think this was revised down as well, by the way. But hey, anyway. So the fact here is that you are going to expect China to overgrow the market or the global economy. You're probably going to get the US will probably come in a little bit, in my opinion. I think the US will try and grow their economy. I think Trump will do it. I think Trump will absolutely kind of make sure that is a thing. Don't forget midterms, stimulus checks, even the like 1,700 that he's given to the military. But then it gives you an idea there. So this is again Goldman Sachs research. Why is it important it's Goldman Sachs? Well, we know Goldman Sachs very much is aligned to digital assets right now. So what do we need to look for when we talk about global liquidity? You're going to want something like China. You're going to make sure that continues to move. The US is going to be important. Any of these big pro-cryptocurrency countries we want to see growing. Now, China is going to be a really, really interesting one. I think it'll be really interesting as markets move into 2026. But at the minute, global liquidity is spiking. The money supply is now up to a record $45 trillion, which is pretty insane. You can see there how that splits across a number of different countries. China is the majority of global money supply. Remember, they were injecting huge amounts of money into their housing market. They have been injecting huge amounts of money. They are literally trying to stimulate their economy like crazies. What's the one big thing that's different than in China than in the rest of the world? And let me see if I can get this chart for you. Because this is very interesting. Very interesting. And you need to see this as a comparison to US. So this chart here. This is the Chinese ISM data. Now, obviously, ISM, we've touched on before on the channel. Lots of people predicted a growing ISM above 50 shows expansion in the market, particularly in the manufacturing sector. Well, look at this. Business conditions index is 51.6 as of November 2025. And you've got the NBS manufacturing PI 49.2. If you compare this, as an example, to the US, so if we do US ISM and we get that number, what do you see here? Well, you actually see a very different numbers playing out. So remember this. You've got a lot here in terms of 51.6 of the business conditions index, MBS manufacturing PI at 49.2. When you overlay that into, say, something like the US, you see a significant difference, actually quite a bit of a decline versus where China is. Well, why is this important? Well, this tells us that China's economy is actually growing faster than the US. This is important because China is the biggest manufacturer of AI stuff. They're obviously trying to lead the way in terms of AI. And AI, we all know, is basically driving the markets right now. It's driving the economy. It's driving the stock market. So what you've got here is an expectation that China is going to continue to grow. You also have data that supports actually their manufacturing side of things, which shows economic expansion is also booming. And you've got, albeit you've got the US kind of a little bit. The fact of the matter is, though, they're not there, right? 50 is expansion, below 50 is not expansion. So this is important. Align that to then the M1 supply. You've got massive liquidity. So this is the first thing I would take. By the way, we're going to do both sides of the aisle here. So we're going to do why loads of good news for liquidity is coming to the market, but equally what the risks are, because I think that's important. So we know that global liquidity is skyrocketing. You might not feel it, might not look like it. Remember, this is just simply adding value into the globe. That might be in companies that are expanding. That might be in capital investments. That might be in stimulus checks, whatever it is, okay? But we know global money is increasing. Now, we also know, and many of you will have known that I shared this before, banks are sitting on a whopping $337 billion in unrealized loss. Now, this is a race. Okay, this is a race to try and get back to a balance point. As you can see here, there is actually a significant decline coming in those unrealized gains. So how much people are over leveraged? Remember, we talked about private credit before. This is important. We also talked about the US repo debt, which people mistake for liquidity increases. It's not. It's a lack of liquidity, which ties back into the SLR that we talked about last week as well, in which once it lands the new SLR with new regulations and actually means that banks have to hold less, this all will play out. You know, in the grand scheme of things, it should all play out. Now, what's also, oh my God, what am I doing here? What's also worth noting here, just FYI, is that my mouse button is being super annoying right now, which is obviously just not making life easy. What is this doing? Why is it being super weird? Okay, there we go. I got it. So again, this is why this is important. So we know banks are over leveraged, and we know that because look, they're still injecting massive amounts of money into this. The repo debt, the amount of money that has to be put into the banks at a cost, every night by the Federal Reserve, albeit declining, still significantly higher. So again, important to reference these two things as we walk through this. But as the banks start to reduce the unrealized gains, now this could be tightening in economic stance. The banks may not lend as much. And I don't know if we can get this actually. Let's see if we can get bank. Can we see this? Oh, no, it just brings me, I don't want a personal loan. I want to see this. I think this will be interesting. As of late 2025, the amount of outstanding lending by bank, oh, is this the UK, is 2.2 trillion. I want to see it. I was hoping to see it. Look, anyway, doesn't matter. So I was curious as to kind of how much banks are prepared to lend out, because in theory, what they probably want to do is rotate some of this and try and offset some of the potential risk. Again, $337 billion. Now, this is going to be counteracted, though, by something we've also been talking about for a while. And I think a lot of this has to be interlinked, and a lot of it, therefore, does allow you to sort of say, well, maybe 2026 ends up being a big year. And by the way, I just think it's one or the other. I think it'll either be an absolutely insane 2026 and the bull market's going to be wild, or it's literally going to be the worst market you've ever seen in your entire life. That's just my opinion. Now, again, I don't necessarily think there's an in-between. I think it just is what it is. So yeah. So let's so we talked about this. Okay. So this is obviously unrealized gains, bank and debt. Now, what have banks been doing recently that we've been covering here? Buying an absolute crap ton of gold. I mean, literally more gold than you can imagine. More gold they've been buying since, the most since 2022, and actually nearly double what we were buying back in 2014. You can see here the annual gold purchase by tons and estimated purchases over the last 3 years are up 104%. So what you've got here is you've got where is it here? So you've got $337 billion in unrealized losses. Banks have lent too aggressively, okay? And then what you've had is a drop off in the economy pretty swiftly, as much as the S&P is rallying, but this whole data center AI, stuff that's kind of going on. So you've got this over-leveraged and potential loss at the banks, while at the same time, they're accumulating an absolute crap ton of gold at the background, right? They're just buying gold like crazies now. So why is this then important? Well, this all plays out into something like US Treasuries, which is another sign of liquidity in the market. So again, banks being restrictive in what they loan out, while at the same time buying all the gold up. Well, foreign holders of US Treasuries fell 5.8 billion in October to 9.2 trillion, but they remain at the second highest level on record. So as much as there might have been fear with the Japanese unwind, and obviously people were really nervous about the fact they're going to start dumping billions of dollars worth of treasuries, well, it hasn't. China still holds the third largest amount, declined though 11.8 billion to 6,887 billion. So, a chunk there, lowest since 28. Belgian stockpile includes Chinese custodial accounts. Japan, the largest holder we talked about. UK, second biggest owner. Canadian holdings dropped by 56.7 billion. So what you've got here is that you still have a demand and an appetite for US Treasuries. Now, why is it important that US Treasuries still become a thing? Well, because not Michael Saylor, that's something else. Because the reality is that we want to see the Federal Reserve keeping to print money. And we can see that by the fact here. Fed will inject nearly $7 billion in liquidity tomorrow. Again, buying back the Treasury bonds and old Treasury bonds. So those that were essentially maybe even bought for too high, to whatever it is, right? They're kind of, recycling some of this, bringing costs down, bringing debt down as part of their annual purchase. Okay, that's kind of basically what they're doing. So, summarizing dead quickly, hopefully you guys are still with me. So we have stimulus from GDP growth. You have an outperforming Chinese market. You've got less in terms of repo, but still there. So we do need to be mindful of that. You've got banks buying loads and loads and loads of gold, while at the same time trying to offset potential unrealized gains, defaults, panic in the market, whatever, right? You then get foreign holdings of US Treasuries. So actually there is still an appetite, which then supports the fact that the Fed's buying back old Treasury bonds and then essentially printing money. So this is obviously a good news story, and certainly how it kind of plays out. So what else do we need to be aware of? Well, monthly exchange flows are certainly topping out again. So monthly exchange flows have surged to over $10.9 billion, the highest since May 21 at the level historically linked to major market shifts. Are people preparing what is coming for next? Is this the 2026 that we've all been talking about? Maybe it is. Maybe it's not, and people are kind of freaking out and selling. At the minute, it's hard to tell you. All you got to do is understand I guess what your decision is. That's probably the fairest way to say it, isn't it? Where do you think the market's going to go, and what's your opinion on it? And if you do that, you're probably going to be okay. So again, you have seen big capital flows in and out of the markets. Okay, I think this is important to reference here, particularly when it comes to exchanges and what that walks through like. But that's not all. That is not all. You also have something called the apparent demand growth. Now, this is a pretty interesting chart, and I've been studying this for, most of yesterday, actually. But essentially what this does show us is it shows us growth or not, and again, growth or not, so growth or retraction at a correlation to the Bitcoin price, okay? Since early October, demand has remained below the trend, which could weigh on Bitcoin's price in the near term. The view would be, based on this chart right now, that you would see a more sideways or downtrending Bitcoin price when we see a reversal come in, i.e. you start to see markets move up. This generally is synonymous with Bitcoin's price moving upside as well. You can see here back in 2020, we saw this move up before we went into the 2021 insane bull market all the way to the top. Likewise, we came back down then into the 2022 bear market all the way through. Interestingly, just for about 12 months before this started to print back up again. And again, following up, there's the FTX crash that came in right around 2023, sort of late 22. And then obviously markets push back up. Sentiment right now is down. So this is worth noting. Could we follow a similar pattern, head into the next, say, 6 to 7, 8 months of a bear market, and then start to push back to the upside in 2027? Maybe. That could be a thing. You just have to wait and see. Grace, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. People load a coin for one cycle at best. No wonder why they lose. No hype. Yeah. Patience is certainly something that a lot of people are not affording themselves. Again, if you hold, Ars Krakenu, you want to be careful of that one, but yeah. Media said the Oracle delay is far less consequential to global AI progress than may assume. China already has hundreds of newly built AI data centers poised. Well, yeah, and don't forget, they're now talking about government-built AI data centers, Google building data, and even the fact that they're kind of going, well, maybe it's not a thing. SpaceX's IPO that we probably need to talk about maybe tomorrow that could put data centers in space. You're like, oh my gosh, where are we going? Sci-fi world. What's going on, Rob? Good to see you, man. So again, Bitcoin apparent demand growth, think about where that sits. I think this one's definitely an important one to think about. And then obviously, look, Japan versus US core CPI. US CPI came in good. Japan's obviously skyrocketed on the back of that. Japan's inflation rate has surpassed the United States inflation rate for the first time. The fact is, markets don't care, which I think is interesting as well. So this is just something that I think is worth noting. Remember, the speech that came in, the Japanese rate was all good unless there is nervousness that they are going to continue to raise their rates. And I think that is the one thing that if you were looking at anything, then you need to be there. You finished for Christmas 2 bits? No, mate, I work Christmas Eve as well. I'm literally working Christmas Eve, and then I'll drive down to where my missus is. So I'm on my own in the house. So we actually went live a little bit earlier tonight, but yeah, I'm working all the way through to Christmas Eve. Well, it makes sense because in space it's cold, which means less energy trying to keep the machinery cold. That's true. Bitcoin mining could be pretty good. The internet connection might be a challenge, but hey, you never know. You never know. Bun says Toshi. Yeah, we'll take a look at that in the DeFi section. I'm down for having a look for sure. Don't forget, by the way, if you are brand new here, just give us a quick favor. Tap up the like button to a brand new all-time high. Would appreciate it. And if you haven't already hit that subscribe button as well, I highly recommend hitting that subscribe button as well. Definitely worth your time. Okay. So with all of that, there is two other things I want to talk about, which is this. And I think this again supports the narrative of what we could see for 2026. Right now, 350,000 Bitcoin has been sold at a loss. Think about this for a second. You've seen market pushes down, nervousness in the market, fear, uncertainty, doubt, whatever you call it. People are like, oh, I need to just sell my Bitcoin. I don't even care how much I bought it for. Shows that you've got retail investors that A, don't know what they're doing, and B, are very much new to the space. They either one, buy and leave it, and then don't come back. But actually, it's a pretty interesting number. And what this does, in my opinion, and again, you can see the correlation between the two. Guess when we saw the biggest capitulation of people selling Bitcoin at a loss? Right after the 2021 bull market cycle, where we got the most amount of selling pressure at a way bigger decrease. So again, think about that. Tim says, just added to my long-term bag of EGLD. What a bargain. Nice. I like your style, Tim. I like your style, man. Join to his Discord, link in his bio. Hey, Casey, that's a great reminder, by the way. If you want to get into our Discord, by the way, totally free to get involved in. Again, it's highly recommended. Link in the description. Also my bio on TikTok. It's totally free. Like I said, just hang in there with some great community members. Don't forget, I do not DM anyone in there. If you want to get me, tap in the main chat. I'm the only person that's got a red name in there. So, yeah, let me know. Okay, so I think this is an important thing to reference as well. And then there is a big thing. Well, two big things, actually, that's going on. Michael Saylor allegedly is going to buy more Bitcoin. He clearly got the Morgan Stanley... he clearly got the Morgan Stanley loan, so that could be interesting. I mean, he could come in with some sort of insanity buy. Imagine he buys like $2 billion worth of Bitcoin. Imagine. Now, I don't know what the number's going to be, by the way. I wonder if we can maybe try and hazard a guess if we looked at where they sit right now. But Saylor going to buy more Bitcoin. I sort of think people don't really care right now. And yeah, it's a bit like crack on and see where you get to. So yield is still 0.82% down. So yeah, on the quarter, that is, by the way, obviously still pretty high. But yeah, I mean, he could end up buying big, actually. He probably could do with buying a chunk to try and offset what he's kind of been buying recently. I mean, look at some of these. We've been saying this, haven't we? So loads of these buys have been way over market value right now. So, you know, a big buy wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, I think, for the long-term view, or certainly, I mean, in some respects, the short-term player when it comes to strategy. But yeah, it looks like he is getting ready to once again buy more BTC. So fair play to Michael Saylor. And then finally, something that I talked about again yesterday in my update video that I think is absolutely aligned to global liquidity, absolutely aligned to US liquidity, and probably another big catalyst of the market is the new Federal Reserve chair. Now, chucking in a complete curveball. Look at this. BlackRock's CIO, Rick Ryder, will be interviewed at Mar-a-Lago for Federal Reserve chair alongside Kevin Hassett, Kevin Walsh, and Christopher Waller. This guy's never even been on the ballot. Until today, no one was talking about Rick Ryder. No one at all. But now the BlackRock CIO, which, I mean, if you think about that, is absolutely insane, then potentially he's going to be getting involved. He's going to get super, super bullish on what's going on. And yeah, Rick Ryder, Senior Managing Director at BlackRock's Chief Investment Officer of Global Fixed Income, Head of Fundamentally Fixed Income Business and Head of Global Allocation Investment Team. It's a pretty big deal. He's responsible for managing roughly $2.4 trillion in assets. Pretty interesting, all right? He may become the new Fed chair. So, I mean, the Fed chair thing I think is a pretty interesting one, and I definitely think it's a big one. He is also, FYI, pro-cryptocurrency, which I think is important. So, you know, we've got 3 out of the 4 Federal Reserve chairs are pro-crypto. There's only Kevin Walsh that isn't. And I'm not sure kind of where he sits with all of that. But yeah, interesting. And, you know, no surprise, BlackRock are as deep into this market as you can possibly imagine. So, you know, he may be a good choice. I mean, I don't know too much about him, but maybe he ends up being a good choice. Okay, so that talks a little bit about liquidity, the big thing that drives the market, the one thing that I think everyone totally overlooks, and when it comes to price action, people don't care about. But I think it's going to be the big market shifter of 2026. Low liquidity will mean markets are suppressed. They don't really do anything. High liquidity, fluid liquidity, i.e., I mean, that's almost like a double negative. But the fact that we have, you know, money that can move around, people aren't paying so much for stuff. Again, you look at like the UK, for example, we actually did bring our interest rates down. I don't necessarily think it's because we don't want to pay too much money. It absolutely is a necessity for the government to try and get some credibility back. But at the same time, this could be another reason why this could be bullish news. Now, also, Federal Reserve members who will vote the interest rates, this is also, I guess, a opposite. So what happens if we get low liquidity? What is the potential risks of a downside move? Could 2026 be the start of the bear market and signal towards the end of the year that it's over? Mr. Johnny D81, what's going on, bro? Welcome in, man. Welcome in. Some people underwater on bags and are selling, buying right back into the tax loss. Well, I mean, that's the other thing as well. I think maybe that number gets a little bit worse, but I do think at the same time, retail investors are just dumping it. They're going, nope, it's going down. That's it. I'm panicking. I'm out. I'm selling everything. Well, fine. But Federal Reserve member Beth M. Hammock has released a new statement that includes hints of the interest rate policy she will advocate for next year. Now, I think the predictions right now is around 3 rate cuts for 2026. We'll see what that plays out. You'll Stephen Mirren, he comes out of there end of January. Obviously, potential new Fed chair in there probably for June's meeting. I don't necessarily think they get him in before, but the Federal Reserve member Beth Hammock said that monetary policy may already be below the neutral level and providing additional stimulus to the economy. So she's kind of like, well, maybe we just need to chill out a little bit. Maybe we just need to take a breather. Hammock noted that November's inflation data may have underestimated reality due to the data collection problems caused by the government shutdown in October and the first half of November. And this is true. When we looked at CPI, if you remember, and we said, well, it's a pretty good report, but you can't really trust it, is that the report was actually a complete load of nonsense. And even more So because you didn't end up getting the you didn't end up getting some of the stuff that was missing, and you can see that on the report, which obviously is pretty insane. But you know, if you take a look at the CPI report that came in, you basically got loads of stuff not on it. So you can see here, look, September to October, it was like, yep, there's no data at all. So then you take in August, September, and November rates. That's why it was such a good CPI report and came in way under what everyone anticipated it was going to do. But yeah, pretty interesting at all, if you ask me. One of the main reasons Hammock's cautious about interest rate cuts is the view that the neutral interest rates may be higher than the general consensus. Now, in order to understand what this looks like, you have to look at where the US inflation sits right now. And we know this to be true, and we know this to be slightly higher than where maybe the Fed Reserve wants it to be. So we'll take a look at that. Right now, upside to 92k, then dump to 70. Well, Crypto Tony, I don't think that's a bad guess. Stroke, educated opinion. I feel like an upside retest is there. I feel like some key points will be retested, but I still probably am more on the side of bearish sentiment than bullish sentiment, if that makes sense. But yeah, so US inflation 2.39%. So it is above the Fed's rate of 2%. You know, we're not seeing that kind of really make much of a difference right now. But yeah, and Hammock, who does not have voting rights on the committee that makes interest rate decisions this year, will gain voting rights next year. So she is actually going to get the ability, whether she replaces Stephen Mirren, I'm not sure, but this is one thing to be aware of. They may be in a world where actually the Federal Reserve says, hey, we have cut rates, we're going to chill out. We don't need to slash rates anymore. Let's see where the market goes. Let's not rush into some of this stuff, and let's see where we get. This will also be aligned to gold and silver, which analysts are predicting now is going to skyrocket in 2026, but could then be the end. And, you know, gold and silver have actually been performing pretty well. I think silver broke a new all-time. Oh, well, certainly broke over 65, I think it was. But yeah, he framed the move as late stage of nearly decade-long crypto born out of post-exchange traded fund liquidations and warning interest that followed gold's 2011 peak, noting that cycles, not narratives, ultimately dictate where metals go next. So this whole idea that we may be in a 5-year cycle, the ISM, the PMI, then, you know, in theory, you get a spike in metals, which could play out in the early part of the year, by the way. You get a spike in gold, spike in silver. You know, people think 2026 ends up being a big rally. You get an upside move in BTC. You get a downside, underside retest on some of those key levels. And then, yeah, down we go to Goblin Town, potentially. So Gilbert also added technical levels will matter far more than macro headlines that the cycle plays out. He highlighted gold's battle around key resistance of the 4,000, suggesting a pullback would not be shocking. And if we take a look at where gold is right now, just to give us a bit of an idea around that, 4,339, rallying up to potentially that 4,400 new all-time high for gold. And then silver, 6,715, pretty big number. Crude oil price is slightly up today. Yeah, I was talking about that last week, actually, the importance of where the oil market's going to go to. Pretty interesting if you ask me. Don't forget, by the way, you still only have a couple of hours left. Well, in fact, 1 day, 2 hours. If you're looking for somewhere to buy or trade cryptocurrency, not financial advice, do also make sure you do your own research on it. But yeah, check out the link if you want to get signed up for an account. We've got some insane sign-up bonuses, trade bonuses, everything else. Again, not financial advice, but if you are interested, do check it out. Link in my bio and in the Discord as well. So let's summarize exactly what all of this means. With the expectation of Michael Saylor buying more Bitcoin, the debate has to be what does and how does this market move? Liquidity for me is going to be the big thing. If we see injections of liquidity, Federal Reserve printing and cutting interest rates, more macro stimulus, i.e. the housing market comes down, 401ks can be invested in Bitcoin, stimulus for the Chinese markets, GDP above 2.8%. These are all going to be good news stories that are going to take us into 2026. Recessionary fears, yield decreases, the 10-year and the 2-year treasury coming down are all going to be things we've got to stay close to, because these may tell us the market is about to roll over and head into a deep pants bear market. I'm not going to say it's going to happen tomorrow, but I certainly think it's worth noting. I think there's loads of potential upsides for 2026, while at the same time, there's always going to be downside risks that we do need to be absolutely aligned to as well. So I'm curious about your thoughts. I think we may have done this poll before, but let's start the poll here. Do you think 2026 will be ... bull run, bear market? Let's see what you guys think. Let me know what you think, TikTok as well. Type in the chat, bull market or bear market. What do you think 2026 is going to be? It means we need more bull power in the market. I mean, that's potentially true, Robert Dover. Potentially. Just like a group of wildebeest that have been scared off in all directions by a lion, we need to regroup. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I kind of like that analogy, in fairness. I kind of like that analogy. The problem you've got, I think, the longer that we trade sideways, the more difficult it's going to be. I did see that RPM as well. It was almost embarrassing. Bull run, Jim Bob. Yeah, Gary says bull run. All right, nice, nice. People are bullish. I like it. People are bullish on 2026. So, yeah, bullish first 6 months, bearish second half. That's probably not a bad shout, actually. Well, if you were to say that, well, BTC's peak minus economic inflation costs, then, you know, we sort of get into a little bit of a world. 26 bull, like it, yeah. And you say, well, generally speaking, they last 12 months from that point there. So, you know, BTC wicked out at that point, 12 months, which would be, there we go. 12 months would be December of 2024. That potentially could be, you know, where we get to. We might even start to see that in kind of October, maybe. Bullish for Q2, Q3, then bear market starts October, November. I mean, technically, yeah. Bull for sure in 2026. Nice. Nice, like it. I hate to say it, though. It looks like this cycle is holding intact, and the cycle is, that means that we're, by definition, the bear market. Oh, you mean the 4-year cycle? Yeah, there's loads of arguments for, the 4-year cycle to still be there. I mean, arguably, the fact that we topped out back here in October tells us that at the minute it is kind of there. Al says what we need is momentum. Yeah, we don't have it. Yeah, and that's why I think 2026, again, if you haven't seen that video, by the way, go and check it out. 4 reasons why 2026 may end up being the biggest bull run yet. Because actually, momentum is right. You need momentum, optimism, retail investment, etc., etc., etc. Well, how do you get that? Stimulus checks, new Federal Reserve chairman, make life cheaper for everybody to get involved with. You know, the fact that you're going to get Clarity Act, monetary policy definition, like these are all good things for the 2026 market. I just think that I feel like we're one dump away from it all being over, though. That's kind of where I get to. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think you need momentum and you need a little bit of respite optimism, I think, as well, to try and, you know, push this market a little bit higher. What we don't need is a rally in gold. What we don't need is a rally in stocks. As much as people believe that there's going to be a then capitulation back into the broader risk on markets, it just doesn't happen right now. We talked about this before. Why would anyone invest in BTC that's going down, that net over the course of the year has actually lost you money, versus going and buying the S&P 500 or a frigging data center? Because actually that's where all of the money is. And I do think we'll probably get a little bit more of a volatile market and an opinion of where things are, because markets are closed this week. And you may get in this kind of whole, you may kind of get into this whole bit around 2026 and actually getting this kind of push in there with all of this macro stuff that might play out a bit more favorably. Whether it does or not, we'll see. Markets open tomorrow ahead of the Christmas break. We might get a little bit more of a push in terms of, sorry, I'm just trying to find something at the same time. More of a push in terms of just ending the market and ending the year. Right, remember, this is the the third worst Q4 since 2016. Right, since 2016. So, yeah. Bullish. I said that, didn't I? I might be wrong, but with all the big companies trying to get money back to Japan to avoid interest rates, XRP would be the fastest way to do this. Yeah, I mean, again, if you haven't seen my video talking about XRP, I highly recommend going and checking that one out, because there's just loads of stuff coming with XRP that I think a lot of people are going to miss. Mark says, no bull run until big exchanges are regulated and prevented from liquidating leverage. Yeah, I mean, you can see it every day. I mean, even today we had a sell-off for no reason. No reason. Not enough history, if you think about it, to marry yourself to these cycles if you need something to go. Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's true. Al says exactly, and that's why you are wrong, and the top is not in, and 2026 will be the blow-off top. But I'm happy for you to be wrong, as I am sure you want to be as well. But yeah, I definitely, yeah. It's one of those catch-22s, isn't it? I hope I am wrong, because if I'm wrong, it means everyone wins. Definitely. Definitely. Oh, you want me to put, oh, I see. Yeah, look, I'm down for putting a vote out, yeah. So 81%, I think it's fair to say that is right. So, is 2-bit wrong about this now being the bear market? Yes or no? But that just answers the same question, though, doesn't it? I'm not doing that. I was just going to put, yeah, just answers the same question. Do you believe that 2026 is going to be a bull run? Yeah. But yeah, let's hope I'm wrong. Let's hope I'm wrong. JFR, what's going on, buddy? Welcome in. So again, this kind of aligns to what we were talking about here. But I mean, what's interesting with Bitcoin returns is that, yeah, they're pretty shabby. 2.1 currently in December. Historically, by the laws of averages, actually December is generally not a good month for us. Mean average at negative 2.85. So we're pretty much in line with where general sentiment in the market has kind of been. Where we could see that move is January historically is actually a more bullish move. February is even more bullish, irrespective of bull or bear markets. 2014, 2020, 2025, essentially were bear markets. Could we see the flip? Again, could align to the fact that 2026 may end up being a massive year. I don't know. We'll see. So it says, I mean, I know altcoins are a whole never popped off, but people use that argument and there was no real bull market, but crypto fund stocks were going crazy. Maybe that was it. Maybe. Like I said, I don't think there's a happy medium between these two, by the way. I think it's either like 2026 ends up being like the most insane bull market you've ever seen in your entire life, or it absolutely is not, and it just ends up being the continuation of this current bear market, or this current bearish market. Let's call it that right now. Let's call it that. As opposed to a bear market, let's call it a bearish market right now, because that's probably about right. So yeah. So let me know what you think, by the way. I'm curious about your thoughts. Obviously, recently we've been diving way deeper into things that I think are important. It's dead easy to come onto a live stream or equally put videos out and just go, oh, today in the news, Bitcoin went down. We're trying to put a little bit more to it. I'm certainly trying to put way more effort. If I give you an example, the 2 videos I put out today, I actually spent nearly 2.5 hours on the first video. That was researching, script writing, recording. I got rid of my editor because I just wanted to do it myself. Editing it and then obviously getting ready to publish it. So, but yeah. So go and watch it, all right? Definitely go and watch it. It helps me out. I'd be happy with 10 per XRP in 2026 and 100 per in 2030. I mean, I think we all would on that point. Excuse me. I think we all would on that point. Okay, good. Right. Where are we at? 21. Look at that. Pretty crazy. So BTC, do you know what's interesting today, by the way? In fact, let's take a look really quickly at what we've seen previous Sundays in the markets. So, and then how does that correlate to a Monday? So last Sunday we dumped and dumped again. The Sunday before we pumped and pumped again. The Sunday before was dump and dump again. Interesting. Pump and pump again. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, dump and dump again. Interesting. So we could argue here that right back until the early parts of November, that generally Mondays follow the same pattern as what Sunday did, which if that's true, we'd then print 4 days or potentially even 5 days of upside move, albeit not very big. But in theory, you know, the last 6 Sundays, we have done the same on the Monday. Maybe that plays out to be true again. Maybe we get a nice little relief rally on the Monday, perhaps. Nothing a lot going on, by the way, from a data perspective. So again, if you are, you know, thinking we're going to get anything crazy, in fact, there is nothing. Oh no, there is a little bit, but not a lot. We get the Fed bill purchase. We touched on that, by the way, $6.801 billion, which is pretty interesting. Tuesday, obviously, we get core PCE expectations are up 2.5 versus 2.1. So that we need to keep an eye out for sure. I mean, considering the crazy scam they did back in October, we could all put limit orders for the. I mean, yeah, that's true. They would. I definitely reckon they wouldn't have honored it though. We saw that. That's why so many got washed out, because they had loads of their APIs and stuff fail. So, okay, let's take a look at the pre-markets to get a bit of an idea as to maybe what this play out, this sort of, you know, I guess start of the week may look like, and then we'll get into a little bit more what's going on. So the Dow expectations are pretty significantly up, by the way, which is interesting. And yeah, look at this. The S&P 500 shows that it's going to be a upside move. Man, look at the NASDAQ. Oh my God. Maybe America comes in big tomorrow, baby. The Nikkei, the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, all look like they're open. Everything's open tomorrow. It's just Christmas Day that's closed. So yeah, stocks look like they're going to rally tomorrow. Currency's a little bit, who cares? Look at the volatility index on the VIX, down 11%. Wow, that's pretty interesting, isn't it? So right now, you've got markets pricing in upside momentum for all of commodities. The Russell even going up 18%. So we may get a nice little move on the US markets tomorrow. Likewise, maybe Europe's coming as well. Big Wealth, what's going on, bro? Welcome in. So maybe we actually get a little bit of a move. Remember, this happened last week. The week before, and we got a nice move out of Sunday into Monday morning. And the markets did actually push up quite nicely. I mean, we could get that ahead of PCE maybe on Tuesday. So yeah, pre-markets look all right, actually. And then look at this, BTC futures pricing in 3.8% gain. That's interesting as well. The Q's 1.3. So this is obviously a depiction of Mag 7 and the wider crypto market, the wider stock market, but the Q's actually pricing up as well. So interesting. Tennessee, Ecoman, what's going on, bro? Welcome in. No, the honor of mine. I had some pretty low limit orders that I picked up. Nice, bro. I like it. Do you think the stock market will open 24/7 like the way crypto trades? No. I know the NASDAQ are trying to get it to open until 11 o'clock at night or something, but I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is because I think you still have to have some element of human control over it. Whereas if you think about it, the crypto market is like not at all peer-to-peer. No one really has to do it. And I know exchanges are a relatively straightforward way of getting hold of coins, but yeah, I don't think the NASDAQ or the S&P does it. Yeah, I'm good, Big Wealth. Thank you, man. I am good. I always enjoy going live. And yeah, a few days out from Christmas, man. 21st of December. Everyone, it's Christmas jumper day. We've not done it yet. It's Christmas jumpers tomorrow. All right. So if you're joining the live stream tomorrow, you need to wear a Christmas jumper. All right. Let's get Christmassy on the show tomorrow night. It'll be good fun. It will be good fun. Okay. Good. Right. So that's where we sit in terms of the price. We talked about liquidity. We talked about where the markets sit. Pre-markets look pretty interesting. If you guys have got any questions, any thoughts, any views, let us know. Just drop it in the chat and we'll get them up. We'll answer as many as you can. If you're brand new to the crypto market and you have no idea what's going on and you've just got a million questions that you don't want to ask anywhere else, then this is the channel for you as well, because there is no question is a silly question. Feel free to ask away and I will try my best. And if I can't, I'm sure the community will support it as well. Search says, I hear the English accent, bro. Where are you from? I'm relatively new to your channel. I'm actually a big fan of England. I've been out there before. I actually plan on going back next year. I'm in God's own county. I'm in Yorkshire. When God made the world, he made Yorkshire first, then he made everything else. That's where I live. So, you know, that's where I am. Yorkshire, born and bred, proud of it. But yeah, I'm in the UK. So the north, essentially. If you know where Manchester is. I mean, we don't generally talk about Manchester because they're Lancashire, but yeah, that's where I'm at. But yeah, appreciate it. And hopefully enjoying the content. If you are, don't forget, hit the subscribe button, turn notification bell to all. That way you don't miss a beat. I live stream every single day, barring Saturdays, and I put content out every single day as well. So if you enjoy that sort of stuff and you enjoy this kind of market, then yeah, glad to have you here. Yorkshire puddings, got to make it. 70 grams of flour, 2 eggs, 200 mils of milk. That's where you got to do it. Well, York was the original capital of the region. It was actually, yeah. Can't beat a Yorkshire pudding. Can't beat a Yorkshire pudding wrap, bro. Let me tell you. Roki, what's going on? What do you think about Saga Coin in 2026? I don't even know what it is. I have absolutely no clue whatsoever. We can take a look at some DeFi stuff, though. I feel like I want to get a couple of DeFi coins, but we don't have a lot. But Saga Coin, I don't know what it is, but we can have a look. Let us see what is going on here. Saga Coin. Is it this thing at the top? Saga USDT with 974. No, it can't be that. Don't know. Oops, I did not mean to press that. Must be this one, is it? Must be this one at 5 cents, 774. What's my opinion of it? If it is that, not a good one, I think. Chart looks terrible, so be careful. What do you think about BTC? We'll touch 85 again next week. I mean, 85. Oh, you mean? I mean, it could do. It could do. And I guess what would be the narrative to push it down? Really bad PCE index could be interesting. So we get bad PCE. That could be a catalyst of the market. Market makers decide, hey, this is where we're going to take advantage of people not being very comfortable and dump the market. So yeah, Tuesday will be an interesting one. I think if we survive Tuesday, we're probably all right. We're probably all right because Wednesday is, you know, Christmas Eve. We're then closed and then obviously you get nothing in terms of Friday. Then we're into the weekend again. So it's almost like a 3-day week, isn't it? Really? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, jobs are good. So we could do it. I think we're way more likely to just consolidate sideways. I am surprised altcoins have sold off as much as they have, but I think we're way more likely just to trend sideways, just to be in a narrative that people are a bit like, I'm not going to go and buy any coins. I'm not going to trade anything. I can't watch the markets enough. Like, you know, I think people will just way more chill out. Just in my opinion. XRP is going to be used as a global settlement coin. Has been valued at $100,000 minimum. Just on Yeah, I mean, I did talk about that in my video. I mean, I think that the narrative that people spin where they're like, XRP is going to be $1,000, it's just nonsense in the short term. Nonsense. Maybe in 20 years, it's going to be, good, and maybe it could get that. I mean, anything's possible, isn't it? But, is XRP going to $1,000 next year? No, of course it's not. Of course it's not. You would have to get, is it impossible? No, but it's very unlikely. Very unlikely. Let's get to $10 first, that's my opinion. What do you think about making a big bet on only altcoins that have ETFs in the United States and Europe? I feel like the corporation taking over. The problem you've got with ETFs a little bit, and we've seen this with Bitcoin ETFs, is that they are ruthless when they want to come and sell it. Ruthless. And we saw that with BlackRock. We've seen it with Fidelity, ARC21, is that if you have retail investors, they will always be depicted by emotion and what other people are doing. So, for example, if you were like, well, I think Bitcoin's going to go back up, and all your mates think Bitcoin's going to go back up, you are less likely to sell because you assume that everyone else is right. The herd mentality. When you've got institutions like BlackRock, they literally just don't care. They're like, yeah, whatever, just liquidate the positions, like whatever, sell it, not bothered. So I think there is a risk with that because, you don't know that ETFs all of a sudden aren't just going to sell everything. I do think there's an element of security with an ETF, not a lot, but, it's still tied to the original native asset, which Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, but yeah, I think the biggest thing for XRP would be some sort of banking tweet, some sort of banking announcement like, SBI Bank adopts XRP as a means of transferring capital or something. That's what you want. Bank of America is testing blockchain, or Bank of America is testing XRPL for finalizing transactions or something. Then that could be the bit that I think would be pretty tasty to realize. Anyone else notice that XRP ETF tracker seems a bit confusing? Friday, they did 60 million. You expect that to lock in at least 30 million XRP, but it went up about 15 million. Yeah, it's trade volume though, isn't it? That 60 million is trade volume, right? So, that's what you got to understand. Not necessarily buying of XRP, it's just trade volume into those ETFs. The better website for that is this one here that shows you this one. Which shows you what they actually have got locked up. 700.49 million XRP. That's the interesting one. So yeah, they actually show on-chain data as to where that's going to go. But yeah. Oh, my battery's about to die on my other phone. Come on, broski. There we go. Get charging. Have that. Breaking Japan use XRP with the carry trade. Do you think? It'd be pretty wild if that was the case. That'd be pretty wild if that was the case. I mean, there is no breaking news. That's the thing. Sundays are super quiet. There's not a lot going on a Sunday. Not a lot at all, actually. It's really, really quiet on a Sunday. But, Bitcoin having a little bit of a move. Nothing crazy. But yeah, I'm not seeing any big news stories right now. Federal Reserve scheduling to inject 6.8 billion into the markets. We know about that. Week ahead, we've got, like we said, Tuesday ADP, jobless claims, Q3 GDP. That'd be interesting, actually, based on what we talked about tonight. Q3 GDP. So you want to see the US, what's the number? 2.8%. If you want to see, GDP above 2.8, could signal way more bullish news. Well, I do have a small bag of XRP. I don't think what people's hopes are going to happen. I mean, we got PayPal, you got SoFi doing a stablecoin. Why do they need XRP? They use Solana. That's true. I mean, I could go into the whole XRP narrative, but just go watch some of my videos. Way easier. Way easier. There's a lot of argument for XRP that, a lot of people getting involved. They're probably the most regulated coin out there. They've probably been the most harshly criticized coin out there. Equally, if you think about the last year, they're probably the only coin and company that have actually been really looking to foster a broader market, whether that be down to ETFs, whether that be down to, on and off ramps with Hidden Road and Prime Brokerage and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'm pretty optimistic about where it's going to go, personally. But that's just my opinion. Davo, thanks for the heart, Mees. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Speaking of banking news, Ripple will be able to start operating in the financial sector in about 4 to 6 months. Yeah, I think so, Johnny. I talked about this. I talked about why this is going to be important. They actually we were discussing this on Friday. So part of the SLR, which is the statutory liquidity ratio that's been adjusted for banks, also will apply to Ripple and their bank that's coming in. So you could argue that actually Ripple are setting themselves up to not only be the newest kid on the block, but actually probably the newest, smartest potential liquidity and bank provider in the markets. This could be in. And don't forget, Coinbase initially announced now that you can trade stocks on their platform as well. So you're getting way more TradFi, DeFi integration that we haven't seen for a long, long time. So, it's good news, isn't it? It's good news in my opinion. And again, probably plays to a narrative that 2026 could end up being super bullish. Might not though. And I think you've always got to play that in mind. Maybe it ends up as a complete nothing burger, but yeah. We'll sort of get a bit of a view tomorrow. I think we'll definitely see a little bit more in terms of what the equity markets is doing, what commodities traders are doing versus obviously Sundays. Sundays are just really, really quiet, aren't they? So I'm just trying to see if there's any other news going on, but I'm not seeing anything that is worth discussing right now. But yeah, Ripple to be the most modern digital bank. Yeah, well, exactly. And the most heavily regulated. They could even get, the sort of regulatory car you got with something like Coinbase as an example. So yeah, bullish, if you ask me. Bullish. Okay. Right. I am not seeing anything else that is worth talking about. I mean, is all this a narrative of, oh, whales are buying more XRP? I don't know how much I believe it, but anyway, if you guys have got questions, thoughts, opinions, then let me know. Good day. Thoughts on Sui? I like Sui. I bought Sui at 271, sold it at 171, sold it at like 196. And then, I didn't buy back in, but yeah, 144. The only thing with it, I mean, the whole broader market, it's just super quiet right now, isn't it? Definitely super quiet, but I like Sui. I like it as an ecosystem. I think it's good. I like the community that sits behind it. I don't know whether I'd be buying anything. Well, I don't know. I know categorically I'm not buying anything right now. I'm waiting and seeing what the market does. That's my opinion. So, maybe there's an opportunity to DCA big on some particular players that maybe got, bought in a bit high. But yeah, I mean, I like it as an ecosystem. I like it as a coin. I like it as where it is in terms of price. I mean, it's not that far down from the 131 that it sort of did as this capitulation, but I think we just need to see a little bit more confirmation the market's going to go one way or the other. And I feel like we haven't got that just yet. So yeah, I want to sort of see what that looks like first. I couldn't believe that my local bank is still using with XP. Really? Windows XP? That is crazy, in fairness. That is crazy. I mean, I just thought everything broke. Anyone notice how banks have instead transfers now? Is the Ripple operating in the dark? Does that mean say instant transfers now? The way that banks work, though, it's not really instant transfers. They just guarantee the money. It's the difference between credit and debit. Your debit card is instant transactions. Credit, they just say, we'll guarantee the money that's in there. So I topped up on FET, Ondo, Quant. They are so far down. Yeah, FET's awful. Really, really bad. I don't know what it is. I actually don't even know what the price of it is. I haven't looked at it for so long. Where is it? Oh, there. Man, 20 cents. Like, you winding me up right now. It's awful. Ondo, what's Ondo at? Ondo's at 38 cents. I mean, look at these. XTC, ICE, IP. See, someone asked me about Asta yesterday, didn't they? Someone was like, oh, do you think it's worthwhile getting into Asta? We were like, nope. Nope. I would wait and see what happens with Asta. Again, I feel like they need to announce some big perp decks. I feel like they need to start the narrative of, pushing it out there again, because no one's talking about it. Everyone that was like, oh my God, Asta's going to be the most bullish thing in the entire world, somehow is now not talking about it anymore. So, yeah. Doesn't mean it can't go up, but certainly the minute it definitely feels like it would be a risky purchase as opposed to anything, sensible to a degree. So, yeah. Yeah, my view. Okay, right. So we looked at that. We've done the charts. We looked at the news. We talked about liquidity. We've been live an hour and 10 minutes. Wow. And we've still got like another half an hour left of the show. Whoa, 2-hour stream, bro. 2-hour stream. Let's see what is going on. Economic headlines. Let's see what we got coming this week. Let's see what we got coming this week. Let's do that one, and do that one. Let's see. Right. The Guardian. Anything of interest on here? Brexit? No. Labour's back with no. Okay. Alarm? No. Okay. Okay. Job? What? No. China has set a bear trap for Keir Starmer. All right. Cool. Yeah. So nothing on there really. Nothing at all in there. No, because it's here. Retail sales fall as Black Friday deals fail to lure shoppers. Interesting. Interest rates cut to 3.75. We talked about that. Okay, so there's nothing really for the UK either. That's super boring. Goldman Sachs, what's their view? I have to apparently send that for an email. Okay, I'd rather not Goldman Sachs, but thank you. Thank you. Right. That, everybody, is that. Nothing really super crazy going on. Like I said, it's super quiet the weekend, so not a lot back to report, unfortunately. China, well, I mean, there's lots of debate right now whether that could be a thing or not. Data center deal hits record 61 billion in 2025. More than 61 billion has flowed into the data center market so far this year. Hyperscalers increasingly turned out to be inside capital. Next big AI roadblock is okay. Investment in data centers worldwide hit record 61 billion. I'm telling you, data centers are where it's at. Like, this is going to be the maker or breaker of global liquidity in markets. Investment in data centers worldwide hit record 61 billion in 2025. That's pretty wild, isn't it? Pretty wild, if you ask me. So we talked about Oracle as well. Their shares have come back a little bit, haven't they, right now? Where's Oracle shares? Yeah, up 6.78% off that low. Interesting. Right, okay, close that. Okay, cool. Interesting. Right, BTC struggling to go green, though, on the day, which is kind of annoying. Come on, BTC, what are you playing at? What are you playing at? Massive jobbers. Oh, dear me. Right. Okay. Get hyped in it. Got a bunch of CIPHR Cypher stocks. Nice. What is it? AI. Invite Mr. Slippers. What's going on, Mr. Slippers? Welcome in. Welcome in. Let's get rid of that. Okay, cool. Cool. All right. Well, we looked at a bit of DeFi. That was kind of fun. Not a lot going on over there. We also talked about liquidity for this market and how that's all going to play out. Yeah, I guess what's on everyone else's mind. I feel like we're sort of there. Let's take a look at social media. Let's see what's going on over on X. If anything that's exciting, we'll leave the price of BTC up so we can see it. But how are XCN and Swiftcoin doing? Yeah, not ideal, I don't think. XCN, or is it XDC that we were talking about? I feel like one of them. We asked for XCN and Swiftcoin. Swiftcoin down 2.5. Which actually is better than it's been for a while, in fairness. XCN, I don't know where that is. I thought we put it on our chart, actually. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm tripping. Okay, right. So, yeah, here we go. Let's see what's going on with social media, whether there's anything interesting or not. There we go. XRP isn't looking to work with PayPal or Swift. They don't need to bother as they offer the faster, cheaper, cross-border payment systems. Well, that's true. It's good on Fairground. Good to see you, man. Oh, Lord. I am tired. Come on, 2-bit. Sort your life out. Oh. Right. What's this? All-time highs for this. The early lows are still married to the highs. The price appreciation trend clearing difficulty. 75k 2025. I don't know what that's for. Felt like it was an AI narrative, but it's not. Any thoughts on Monad trading below launch? So disappointing. Yeah, it feels a little bit like it, but then at the same time, lots of other coins are really not doing that well. So yeah, I mean, it's always not great when it goes down, but you know, I guess 2026 is probably where we need to look at it. Potentially back. The big thing I think you need to get with Monad is get all these perp decks on there, get volume heading on over there, get, you know, giving people a reason to go and trade onto that blockchain, show what it's all about. if you don't do it, then people don't care. And if people don't care, they don't do it. People don't like trying different things. Could the government just tokenize physical gold? They could do. They could do. I mean, tokenize anything you want, especially like RWA tokenization. Think about it. I also, FYI, don't subscribe to the fact that I think Bitcoin's going to 40k because I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. What's going on, Vern? Good to see you, man. Welcome, welcome. Okay. Right, not a lot else going on, really. To be honest, everything is a little bit quiet. Everything is just chilling. Wait and see what happens in the market. Wait and see if we get some upside moves. Wait and see if we get a breakout. Like, everything's just flat. If Bitcoin does go into a bear market like Cycle would suppose, would you assume that it would probably be stopped somewhere around 40? So my best prediction is between 65 and 70k. That's what we've said, isn't it? On so if we go to the weekly chart here, it's a bit more obvious. So if we take the move from where we started this, if you argue and say, well, where does the potential of a pull down get, then you start to talk about 84. But I actually think your lower range is anything between 71 and 58. I think it's actually a little bit less than that, but yeah, that's my prediction. I think anything between 60 and 70, I reckon, is probably where the market drops to. Just my opinion. 67 then up to 120. Wow. Fairground's like all about volatility. I love it, Fairground. All about the volatility. But if they did tokenize physical gold, then that would make it digital gold as well as physical. That's true. But then it's a bit like stable coins, isn't it? So yeah, you could tokenize whatever you want, but it has to be backed by something in case that other thing defaults. So USDT is backed by MBSs. It's backed by treasuries, bonds, securities, all that kind of stuff. As well as gold itself, by the way. So yeah. But didn't the ETF start kicking around 40k? I remember there was a pullback to 37. When did the IBIT BTC ETF launch date? Jan 11th, 2024. Jan 11th, 2024. Let's get back here somewhere. Here then. So Jan 11, 2024. It must be up here. Yeah, so ETFs came in literally, at the bottom when after the old crash arena, and then obviously we then just printed. But it would do because they were accumulating BTC here. These, ETFs were buying. The debate is going to be how much more do they want to buy and whether they sell. So I don't think you can really say, well, we absolutely did see a move up in the market when ETFs come in. Well, yeah, you're right. We might get that in, say, something like Ethereum or, XRP or something like that. That may be a thing, but feels a little bit like at the minute that kind of isn't going to be the thing. So, yeah, we'll have to see. Man, these lights are hurting my eyes, I think. I think the lights hurt my eyes a little bit. Anyway. Anyway, right. Good stuff. We got about 10 minutes left on the stream. So if you guys want to take a look at anything, a chart, a technical token, whatever, let me know. Equally, if you've got some questions, feel free to ask them away. Might not be able to, don't feel like Columbus like first. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I don't think it would. And bear in mind, its its pre-sale was very good. Their investment was good. The launch was implicitly good. So yeah, I think the best thing Monad could do right now is start to implement DEXs, perp DEXs, trading, coins, meme coins, lending protocols, DeFi protocol, whatever it is, right? Let's just get the chain moving because that's what happened with Shibarium. It came out with all these plans and basically all you could do was bury your NAN on it. So, definitely not ideal. Definitely not ideal. But yeah, I think if they start to build projects on there, people start to use it, people see that it's actually pretty quick, then, it could end up doing very well, I think. I have a feeling XRP is going to pump hard out of the blue. Maybe. I mean, it's happened before. They sell fear, bro. That's why they're always hungry, starving, and dying of hunger. I mean, that's true. Let's get out of the Moonwell, good sir. Oh, let's get a look at Moonwell. Oh, my God. Sorry about that. Get out of the Moonwell. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Moonwell. No, I don't think it's one. I feel like Vern invested in this, but Moonwell down 1.05%, $34 million market cap. Chart looks pretty naff. Make any noise and they zombie up. Oh dear. A good statement. It's a good statement. Okay. What do you think the bottom is for XRP? I mean, it's a hard one to kind of call, really, isn't it? But I mean, if you believe that the broader market is going up, then XRP bottomed out around 178. I mean, people still think it'll go back down to kind of previous lows, but if you look at this market structure that came up, there's not really a lot. I guess you could say maybe 127 ends up being a pretty strong support, maybe 115. Outside of that, you're literally heading to Goblin Town again, back down here to 50 cents. So, you know, if I was looking to, you know, maybe trade this as an opportunity, where would I go to it with? Well, I think you have to look for the entry points and the potential for what that could look like. So if you know, you said that for XRP as an example. We could go a little bit lower. 168 wouldn't be out of the ordinary, I don't think, given where that chart looks like. So again, if you're looking to get a position, then fair play. Make sure you just set buy orders, sit back, relax, forget about it. That's my view. By the way, don't forget, we've got a full trading guide as well as all the indicators you need and how to use them in our premium Discord. Just become a channel member here on the channel and you get instant access, as well as our bot that can do some TA for you, and obviously access to the community outside of just the regular community. So if you're interested, become a channel member. That gets you that access into our Discord. If not, just join the Discord. It's totally free to do so. We'd love to have you there. Hurry up then. Don't know what that means. Arve just dipped. Did it really? I mean, Arve, they were actually the Arve team. They sent me a message on Twitter, but then they haven't responded, which is like the weirdest thing. It's like they came into the TikTok. Oh, this is Arve. Send me a message on X. Send me a message. And then just they've never replied since. You're like, all right, okay, cool. Cool. Let's have a look. Arve. I mean, there's lots of nervousness around Arve. They think it's going to default, don't they? They think it's going to default. So yeah. I mean, it's not horrendous, but yeah, equally, it's certainly not going up, is it? Let's call a spade a spade. Let us call a spade a spade. It's not going up in price, so. Yeah, I'll be on tomorrow night, Johnny B. Yeah, 100%. I'll be here tomorrow night. So my schedule will be here tomorrow, here Tuesday, Wednesday I won't be, unless I get to Oxford in good time. Then maybe, because that's where I'm going down to meet my missus. But I don't think so. Christmas Day, I've got some content coming out, but it will just be some videos just to kind of keep things moving along. And then I won't be, basically I won't be streaming 24th, 25th, 26th. I should be back probably live either the 27th or the 28th. Now, I might do something on my phone, maybe. It depends though, because we'll be seeing family and all the rest of it. So, yeah, we'll see. It is weird because he seems so interested in contacting you. Yeah, it's weird. And then they just didn't, just haven't at all. Michael Y, I'm live, so I can't really do it when I'm live. So the last day will be, I'll be live tomorrow and I'll be live the 23rd. So you got tonight, tomorrow, and the day after. And then I'll be live. And then I probably won't be live on Christmas Eve night. Don't think I'll be live Christmas Day, and don't think I'll be live Boxing Day. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, be in the Discord, stay close to my social media because I'll announce it on there. If I can maybe get live, I will. The problem is nothing is really happening. So yeah. Mark says, "Mirage, you have life left. Good entry for one more pump." Yeah, I think so. I mean, the team. I was talking to the team earlier about it. So where's it at now? Like 100k something. Thanks, Tim. Yeah, thanks, Tim. I appreciate that. Where's it at now? Yeah, I just dipped below 100k. So, yeah, I mean, I hope so. I mean, that's not untoward. I mean, it's the first red day that it's had. It's had a bit of volatility, but yeah, it's the same team as Grippy, in fairness. 67 for Arve looks possible. Man, Arve would be wild at 67. I don't know how their lending protocol works and then how that all sort of phases and plays out. But yeah, 167 would be pretty crazy. 67 would be pretty crazy. That would be pretty crazy. What's their volume 233? Don't forget, Arve is all about lending, isn't it? The big lending protocol. But I mean, maybe would be funny if you came on live. Well, I don't think you're allowed. That's the problem. I think, and the last thing I need to do is antagonize YouTube in any way. Don't forget, Thanks, Casey. I've just come on the back of a 7-day, let's call it a break. I must have given out a little of each kind. Tim, can't wait. Fairground, yeah, Casey's all over it. What a guy. What a moderator. Thanks, mate. RPM says I get 8 litres to go through. What? 8 litres? You're out of your mind, bro. What do you think about Flare? I like it. I like the fact that you can own FXRP. I like the fact that you can earn yield on your XRP. And I like the fact they lock XRP based on it. As a total ecosystem, yeah, I don't think it's bad as well. I think it's actually okay. But there's not a lot of exciting stuff going on there. That's the only thing I would say. That is the only thing I would like. But in terms of if you're an XRP holder, I think Flare's a good shout. But yeah, there's just nothing that exciting with Flare. But you know, I guess that's what it is, isn't it? It is just life. So don't need very sweet. I mean, that's true. That is true. You saw the throw math. Oh, mate, if XRP hits 100, then yeah, I mean, we can definitely do that. We could definitely do that. I'd be down for it. We can have like 2 Bitcoin and all sorts, like if XRP gets to that level. Are you expected to push up to 95k next week with a Monday pump? No. I don't think we get to, I mean, 95k is a big move. Bear in mind, markets are closed Christmas Day. Are US markets open on Christmas Eve? Like, do the stock market trade Christmas Eve, yeah? So all New York stock market US holders listed below. Yeah, so it's up. Well, fair play. It's going to trade Christmas Eve. So it is going to trade Christmas Eve, just not Christmas Day. Friday, it's not Friday the 25th, is it? Thursday the 25th. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, 2025. Oh my god. So Thursday, December 2025. Yeah. 100 mil. I'm running naked through the neighborhood. Get it, Tim. But yeah, I think 95k this week and a reasonably quiet week is probably pretty hard work. I mean, that you're talking an 8% move. Now, is it out of the realms of possibility? Probably not. But 8% feels like it's a bit of a challenge. You know, could we see a $90,000 retest? Maybe. We'll see. I mean, the fact that altcoins haven't really moved tells me that the market is like super indecisive right now. And that's probably why I'm in a world of saying, well, I don't necessarily believe we're just going to get this like random pump to 95k or, you know, maybe even a little bit longer. So, yeah, we'll sort of see. We'll sort of see. Just the actual holidays closed. Okay, yeah. So just the actual 25th of November. 25th of December that, yeah, markets are actually closed. So, good. Good. All right, what time is it? Oh, man, it's 10 o'clock. Where do these live streams grow up? Honestly, it's like, where did this live stream disappear to us? Like the screen, yeah. Fairground knows what's up. What's going on, Fairground? Right. Okay, let's just stick close to BTC then, just for the short term. We'll see kind of what's happening just before we get out of here. Obviously, don't forget, there'll be some content coming out, as always. Trying to keep you guys plugged in. It is super quiet, though, on a Sunday night, so I don't know what we'll do, but there'll be something coming out. Government holds off for Clarity Act because the midterms and everyone went on holiday break. Yeah, I mean, the expectation is January, February, isn't it, for the Clarity Act? So I think it can't come soon enough. Again, it's interesting, isn't it? You get a relatively flat market, you know, with a little bit of upside move, mainly on weekends. Why? Because most exchanges and big corporate entities aren't working. Like, none of them are in there. So that's why you see way less volatility on a weekend. Because it's like, oh yeah, BlackRock's not just going to go and dump $1 billion of BTC. You're like, all right, cool. Well, that's good news, isn't it? That's good news. I wonder where the ETF position sits right now. Let's have a look. Here. And here. Wow. 2,000 BTC out from BlackRock. So I wonder if they'll sell into tomorrow, perhaps. Maybe they do. Maybe we end up with a little bit of a dump arena. We'll see. They take a break after being shut down for 2 months. I know, it is wild, isn't it? That is wild. We have to remember they might have another shutdown. Yeah, when is it? January, I think. you imagine what a start to 2026 that would be? Oh, God. God. Awful. Awful. Anyway, we will see. We will see. Yeah, good. Good. Right. BTC 88,160. So marginally down since, we started talking. I think there's quite a bit of volatility within it. I do think it's ranging between two lines. My still big price target, 89,000. Break the 20-day exponential moving average. That's probably the first thing, the short-term goal that I think we need to get to with BTC. If we break above that, then we might be in for some good news. If not, then, we're probably in a world where we're going to see a little bit more sideways momentum with nothing really happening to the upside of it. So, yeah. Hopefully we see it. Hopefully we get it. Fingers crossed it moves. If not, well, it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of where we get to. That's kind of where we get to. And there isn't, outside of that, a lot else going on. We might get a bit more macro stuff tomorrow. Might be a little bit more movement in the market. Maybe there's going to be a little bit more sentiment. Feel a bit better. I don't know. Obviously, Elon Musk's doing a bit of a rounds. He's been out in Saudi Arabia pushing this kind of whole AI integration, which I still think, by the way, is kind of a lot of what I think will drive this market. So, worthwhile keeping on it. Do I think this week's going to be a pretty big week? No, I think it's going to be a pretty flat week. I don't think there's a lot going on. And historically, people going into going into Christmas, it tends to be pretty quiet anyway. So there's probably nothing that tells me, wow, we're in for this like insane run. Everything's probably just going to trend sideways for a little bit. What coin do Elon will choose for X money? I think he'll just choose a stable coin, but that's my view. That's my view. I know lots of people want it to be like XRP or AirVax, but he'll just, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he has USD1 or something like that. He'll just have a stable coin, won't he? Just my view. Just my view. When do you think Cent will launch? Pre-sale ends soon. I haven't really paid much attention to it, Tim, in fairness. Let's have a look. Has the pre-sale ended or no? I did not want to do that. I don't know where the pre-sale is, in fairness, but pre-sale sold. Is it based on the pre-sale selling out or not? 24 or 25 it ends. That would make sense. Oh, there we go. That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, token pre-sale. Yeah, 3 days, 1 hour. So yeah, literally ends on like the 25th. So yeah, ends on like the 25th. So what have they raised so far? 2.636 million. Wow. Wow, that's a pretty big number. Isn't it? $2.63 million. Good on. Is Solana in trouble? No, I don't think so. A couple of people said this. I don't think Solana's in trouble. I think Solana's going to be absolutely fine. Pump fun is the narrative that I think a lot of people are freaking out about and being uncomfortable with, but I don't necessarily think it's too much of a concern, specifically with Solana. I mean, the ecosystem is enormous. Pump fun's such a small part of it. We looked at this on Friday. Jupe is actually a bigger Jupe's a bigger narrative on Solana than Pump Fun is. Maybe not. Yeah, can you imagine, Cheese? I'd be down for that, man. Like 100%. Yeah, XCL was wild, in fairness. Wild, and actually, actually did pretty well. So yeah, it'd be cool if it did. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Good. Good. All right. Well, look, it's 10:05. I feel like we're just going to sit here and talk dribble. We've been alive for an hour and 40 minutes right now. So pretty extensive stream, which is kind of bullish. So as always, I appreciate everybody tuning in. It is fun. Don't forget, tomorrow night we'll have, again, probably another extended stream. I might just go on a little bit later rather than start earlier. I think that probably feels a little bit more of a thing to do. But yeah, as always, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Don't forget, we're here tomorrow. We're here the day after, bringing the crypto market to you. Look out for some content. Remember, every day, 11:30 UK time, my Bitcoin and macroeconomic data comes. Macroeconomic video drops. little bit later in the day, we also have an XRP or altcoin video that comes out. So look out for those as well. Definitely get involved. I appreciate every single one of you. We'll be back tomorrow. As always, thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. Take care.